missing a note here. So hello everyone, welcome to a bit of a video where I thought that actually it wasn't quite my idea, but the thing is now that Yooka-Laylee has been out for a while and people have played it a lot, people have looked at all the reviews, they've made reviews themselves, they made their own opinion. A lot of people were not quite happy with Yooka-Laylee, like a lot of people were indeed disappointed with the game because they wanted it to be just like Banjo-Kazooie. Which, I mean, in terms of style, humor, music, all of that, it is Banjo-Kazooie pretty much, but the level design and the game design is not quite as on point as people wanted it to be, and that was a very integral part of Banjo-Kazooie as well, apart from the humor, like the absolute immaculate level design and game design, and that's what people were missing a lot in Yooka-Laylee. Like, there were some good things here and there. The movement, I think, felt for the most part pretty alright. Rolling around was really fun. And like I said, it wasn't quite the whole package that people wanted. So now a new game is gonna come out that has been in the works for many years already, I think. I don't even know how long it's been. Had in Time, which I'm playing right now. Actually, it's the pre-release speedrun version, which only has like 3 of the levels in it. And basically, I'm just doing a bunch of very quick speedruns right now that all of them take like 3 to 4 minutes. Playing the same 3 levels over and over, but it's fun. So this game has also had this like Kickstarter on Kickstarter, I guess, where it was like, hey guys, you know 3 platformers from back in the days, like Banjo-Kazooie, like Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine. People don't really care about these games anymore, but we still care, so we want to make one that's just like that. And this actually was, I think, even way before Yooka-Laylee was even announced. And yeah, the Kickstarter, they got enough money, they made the game. It's taken them a few years, which personally I don't mind. I don't mind how long it's gonna take, as long as it's good. And now we're getting to the point where it's being released. In fact, it's being released on like 5th of October, which is right around the corner. They just quickly threw together a speedrun build for 3 levels so that they can test some speedrunners, what speedrunners are capable of doing with the real physics and everything. Kind of like Toy Box, but with actual levels in it, instead of just the Toy Box only sort of environment. Also, hello Suikin, welcome to the stream. We're doing a YouTube video right now. You can see what that looks like. Anyway, so I haven't seen you in a while, Suikin, by the way. Now that a lot of people are looking at Had in Time to being like, well, now after Yooka-Laylee wasn't that good, maybe Had in Time is gonna be it. Maybe Had in Time is gonna be the game to bring back the old 3D style platformers back to the modern market, pretty much. That was a terrible time, by the way. Usually I get like 3 seconds back here. And so far from everything we've seen, like they also had like a beta where you got to play some other levels, but that beta at this point is already like multiple years old. Like even the beta is multiple years old at this point. But it's the public one, of course they're doing internal stuff. But it seems like from everything we've seen, this game is not quite like Banjo-Kazooie in the way that it works. It's more like, yeah, it's like Super Mario 64 or even Super Mario Sunshine. I think that's the best way to describe it, where you basically go into a stage and then you select an act or like a star, it would be Super 64, that you want to play, and then depending on what you select, the stuff that you do can be very different. The stage can be very different as well. Like let's say in one act you go in, everything's night, everything's rainy, and there's like bad guys around that hunt you or whatever, and then in a different act it's day and you can free roam around, or in another act you go into some secret and then you play through a weird secret stage or whatever. So it can be very different what you do depending on the act, which is quite different from a game like Banjo-Kazooie or Yooka-Laylee, where the game is built, all the levels are just a very open place for you to explore, and you don't have to worry about what specific thing it is you want to do for any given act. So it is different in that way, but I don't think, personally, I don't actually mind either way too much. Like, of course, they both have their own unique pros and cons, but I think for the most part, if it's done well, either of these 2 ways on how to make a 3D platformer can be totally fine. So I think that by itself is not really something that I want to hold down as like a big difference between the games. Because if you like 3D platformers, then it shouldn't matter which of these two styles of game it is. That's at least my opinion. So how do you compare the two games? And I would like to compare it in the way that, well, let's look at the stuff that Yooka-Laylee didn't quite do right, which was the gameplay and level design. And so far, for everything we've seen from the beta and the pre-release demo right here, it seems like they really do have a lot of cool ideas on how to make a very fun and interesting games, and they do actually deliver on these ideas, at least for everything we've seen so far. Of course, everything hasn't been released yet. Like I said, even when I made my video after the toy box on, hey, this is what Yooka-Laylee could look like, I was already saying like, hey, we didn't actually see the levels, and we only seen like half of the controls or whatever, so we don't know anything about the levels. As it turned out, levels were alright, but like I said, mistakes here or there. And at least everything we've seen from Hat in Time once again is really good, but at least now with Hat in Time we have actually seen a lot of the levels. And yes, Sukuna did indeed move, like a month ago actually, oh, a little bit more than a month ago. Anyway, we've actually seen some levels, and they've shown a bit of other levels as well in motion. So we do have a better idea of what the levels look like, and you can see it right now in the speedrun demo what some of the levels are going to look like. These are not really the full levels where, let's say, you play Super Sunshine, you go into Bianco Hills. It's not any of those levels. Like, imagine you go into Bianco Hills and then you go into one of the secrets. Okay, this is what these are like. Like, 2 of these stages are secrets. The train rush, the train wreck stage is an actual act of a stage, which is similar to, how would I describe it? Imagine, or what's that one stage? There's this one stage in Super Sunshine where you go in and then you have to go around to some villages that are like stuck in like lava goo, and you have like 2 minutes time to rescue them all from the lava goo. It's kind of like that, where you go into the stage, and as soon as you go into the stage, an event starts and you go and do that event. But it's not the actual like free roam stage, it's a bit different. And that's kind of like what that train rush stage is like, where that's not really the actual stage, it's just an event just for that act. And this is how this act structure works. But yeah, like I said, we've kind of seen all the not all the stages, we've kind of seen some of the stages. We saw some of the gameplay ideas that they had. We've seen pretty much most of the controls. There are some power-ups we haven't seen yet, but we've seen the most core controls that the game has. And everything so far looks really nice. And if I were to pass a verdict right now, when I saw Toy Box and then I saw the trailer for Casino, I wasn't actually quite sold on Yooka-Laylee at that point. Like, I was actually one of the people, though, even though I was really hyped for the game, not as hyped as other people, but I was fairly up for the game and I had high expectations. I was already thinking to myself, well, Casino doesn't look that good and the Toy Box doesn't show that much, so I don't know. But at least with this game, I'm actually a bit more hopeful with this game because it looks more promising. We have more information about the game. That's probably the big thing. We have more information about the game. And if you try and analyze all of these different sections of the game, like what do the game designers actually what do they actually think doing this? What were their ideas behind it? What the if you look at the level design, what is the idea behind all of these different places? I feel like they kind of have a better execution than what we could see from Yooka-Laylee already. Like, for example, you have the train rush stage right here, which is an actual pleasure to play. I've played it over like 200 times and it's still feeling amazing every single time. Something that I can't say for a lot of Yooka-Laylee stuff. I don't think there's anything Yooka-Laylee that I still thought was fun after like doing it 100 times. Maybe just rolling around, maybe just the basic rolling mechanics were pretty fun, I guess, even after 100 times. But yeah. So, if you come from Yooka-Laylee, if you've played Yooka-Laylee and you're like, hey, I want to check out Hat in Time, you can kind of see a lot of what's going on right now. It's, like I said, more episodic, more act-like, quicker, more, oh my god, more intense movement, I would say. Yooka-Laylee movement was a bit more methodic. This is a lot more like a twitchy reflex kind of style, which is cool as well. But you don't have to do all that twitchy reflex style if you're playing the game casually, I guess. So yeah, I would say right now, if you come from Yooka-Laylee, definitely go check it out. Hat in Time could very well be the game that brings 3D platformers back to the market, back to the mainstream. Actually, it doesn't need to do either of that, but it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be one of the greats, I think. At least if everything that we've seen so far gets delivered. Wrong input. Bitrate doesn't suit the resolution. The problem is I'm having slight trouble with my internet right now, so I had to do a compromise, which is a bit sad. Maybe once my internet gets a little bit better, which I don't know when, it's pretty random, and it's gonna change. Yeah, was there anything else I wanted to say about this? I'm not sure. I guess I could say that, come back to the main central point, I don't know if I've made it clear enough, but all of those little level design mistakes and gameplay design mistakes that were present in Yooka-Laylee feels like they're not gonna be in this game, because it feels like they have a more polished idea of what they want to do, and they took way more time and effort going into all the level design and game design and everything than Yooka-Laylee had. I'm not saying that Yooka-Laylee was rushed, it just felt like they didn't put enough effort into it than they should. At least that's my opinion. But when you have a game like this where they even went and said, okay, some of the ideas that we had in the past, they maybe weren't that good, let's completely change them, instead of trying to ram them into the full game, then ship it, I think that's a good sign. That's a sign of a developer that cares about making something that's good. Everything gels really well in this game. I think that's the one main point that I can say that I couldn't say about Yooka-Laylee back before release, when I saw the Toy Box and the Casino preview, where it didn't really seem like the level design gelled quite as much with the with all the different mechanics, but in here everything gels together nicely. The way your character controls, the way you use your abilities, you can quick swap the abilities like that, whoop, and then whoop, there we go. Everything just gels together really nicely. How the stage works together with your abilities gels together really nicely as well. It feels a lot more fluid and clean to play, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, if you were sad after Yooka-Laylee release, Hat in Time is gonna be it, man. Hat in Time is gonna be the one. Yooka-Laylee levels were too big. I'm not completely certain on that. I feel like they could have made the levels work. Like, I think with the amount of effort that they put into Yooka-Laylee levels, they should have made the levels smaller. If the levels are as big as they are, they should have had to put a little bit more effort into it. That's at least my opinion. You can make big levels good, you just have to put enough effort and care into it, which I don't think they quite did. Like Mafia Town, one of the stages we've already seen, is actually pretty big. As big as, even bigger than Yooka-Laylee level, maybe even. But the thing is, because you do episodic act-like stuff in there, the free roam aspect is not as important. It's not that important that you have a really nice free roam experience, because you're going from act to act anyway, doing specific tasks that are all very fun because they were all specifically tailored for that act. So I think that's actually alright. Wow, I'm very bad right now. Might get more for DLC. Oh, by the way, welcome back, Nimtag, as well. You might get more for DLC, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. Anyway, I'm playing so terribly now that I've been making this video, but it's okay, it's okay. The video is very important. Yes, the next Yooka game will be much better, I hope. Of course, I can always say that if they listen to my inputs, then maybe it's gonna be way better, but I don't know about that. Anyway, that was that. That's the end of the YouTube video, but I'm still streaming, so it's just gonna continue. So now when the stream is done, all I have to do is go into